want to be a waitress no more?
Who do you think you are, huh?
Well, not me by my fault.
Sometimes
Come and get your bill.
sometimes
Sir, I want you to know I'm a big fan. What's it take for you to train me how to wrestle?
Who'd pay to see you?
Well, people with good taste. That's who.
Let's give it a shot.
Hi, I'm Sophia Jessica, and this is Angel, and welcome to the Fan Carpet.
Hello, perfect. Hi, it's such a pleasure to see you. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you, Marc?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. I watched the film last night. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. If we go back to the beginning, was there a defining moment for you to get into the industry?
Defining moment, getting into the, I just knew when I was a kid, I think I was already acting. Like I loved playing dress up. I loved doing plays. I loved all that. But the industry itself, I was chasing without any knowledge as to what the quote unquote industry was. I would even say that I wanted to act, but I now realize that I was at a misunderstanding of what acting was, even though I was, on the right scent. I wasn't sure I really understood the appreciation of the art. And I think that is something I was drawn to, but I had no idea why. The industry kind of happens. At least it did for me. It just sort of, you're all of a sudden kind of in it, getting to act in plays and getting to audition and going to acting class and falling in love with like the process of acting and character and understanding someone's psyche and trying them on. And then all of a sudden realizing it's about, negotiating with the character to kind of rent your space and give them an honor and tell the life of theirs truthfully, and how fulfilling that is. I would say is completely separate from the industry.
Yeah, it's like the whole one for them and one for you thing, right?
Yeah, or they coincide, like art meets business.
Yeah.
Creatives meet a way to sort of make their creations. That's kind of how industry, I think, has been made in our storytelling world.
Absolutely. So what can you tell us about Queen of the Ring, and what was it that made you want to tell this story, and how familiar were you with Millie's story?
Well, I didn't know anything about Mildred, and I think that was the biggest pull, is when I read Ash's script, I was like, oh, this says it's based on a true story. And then I went and looked at her life, and I was like, this woman, I had no idea who this woman is. I looked at my partner, I was like, do you have any idea who this woman is? She's an American hero, she's an American icon. Like, everyone should know her story. And I was like, is it because we're Canadian? Is it because we don't know anything about wrestling? But no, there's so many people out there that, didn't know who she was. And I felt that was a disservice that I didn't know who she was. And not only that, it made me realize how many stories we don't know, and made me kind of look at my grandmother's story and her mother's story and all of these, women who lived before me, and any gender who's lived before you. There are these stories that have been forgotten that are so important. And I just want storytellers to go out there and find them and share them. I don't know if they're movies or plays, or maybe they're telling your friend, but, I think it's how we learn and how we grow and how we become inspired. And so, yeah, I knew nothing about Millie, and I'm so happy I do now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, she was an extraordinary woman. I'm sure Stephen knows who she was, because he's a big wrestling fan.
But even, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think even a lot of wrestlers kind of knew a little, maybe like knew her name. I mean, she was invited into the Hall of Fame posthumously in 2016, so that's pretty recent. And I would wonder if that maybe made a little bit of a bigger dent. But her story, I think it's different. Knowing her name is different than knowing her story. I knew neither, so I was very in the dark. But yeah, knowing this woman's full story, and we couldn't fit it all into the movie, so there's tons more to know about her.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's it mean for you to be a storyteller and tell stories in this way?
What's it mean? Gosh, I think about this every day. I think it means that my heart feels like it can communicate and connect best when in the vessel of storytelling. And, that's not just down to acting, that's writing or talking with friends and sharing stories and things like that. It's reading. Oh my gosh, I read so much. You know, I think I've always been that way. And I even when I was a you know when you're a child and you're listening to stories, like I remember that's when I felt like the most inspired or like the most alive, or when I'd ask the most questions, or when things would start to make sense to me. It was always via story. And I think as you know we've grown as humans, that's always been a narrative that we've had, and something that I don't think will die easy. I think it's a piece of who we are as a human race and how we can all connect together no matter where you're from or who you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, all the way back to caveman days, because like
Yes.
paintings on the caves and
Mhm.
talking around a campfire. We've all done it as children.
Exactly.
Telling stories, sharing stories around the campfire. Yeah,
Oh, that's the
absolutely.
best. I
It
mean,
is.
fires make stories just that much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when we've got some s'mores and everything, and you can just
Oh, s'mores.
camp out.
Summer
Um,
just ended. I don't know when we're gonna have s'mores again. We'll see.
yeah. So do you have any memories from filming Queen of the Ring that stands out to you, something you won't forget? And the physicality of the role to play Millie, is that something you strive to as an actress?
The physicality was so important because it was a key in figuring out who she was, and letting the energy of having that much muscle on you is different than the energy Emily has without that much muscle on her. So it would have been impossible, I think, for me to get as close to Mildred as I did without that physical aspect. She holds her spine differently than I do because there's muscle there. And so
Yeah,
and then, having your chest out, there's a different, because your back is so strong, not just because you're throwing your shoulders back. There's a different energy, a way you carry yourself. It changes how your voice lands in your body. All those things kind of make up your energy, make up who you are. Um, so that was incredibly important. And it, as a whole, I mean, there's so many memories of fielding. I mean, like wrestling some of the best female wrestlers in the world is one of the most incredible experiences. Getting to slip slam and, throw men 4 times your size. That's amazing. Getting to work with iconic actors, Josh Lucas, Tyler Posey,
mm,
um, Walton Goggins. It's a dream come true. And especially getting to do that with Mildred as my best friend and partner, a woman who is not only inspiring and strong for her era, but continues to be. I am I'm just I'm just
yeah.
yeah,
Says it all.
I'm
Yeah,
speechless.
yeah, absolutely. So what does the future hold for Queen of the Ring? And do you feel a sense of responsibility when taking a role of someone who actually lived?
Yeah, well, Queen of the Ring is out in theaters in the UK, I think tomorrow. It's been
Mm,
out we did a theatrical release in the States and Canada, and it's been on streaming here, so we're excited to see it over on your side of the world. I do think there's a responsibility in sharing these stories, and I'll say it again. I think, there's other stories out there that aren't exactly to Mildred's, but just as inspiring and forgotten. And I think that that is the responsibility we hold as storytellers to find them and be inspired by them, or take things from them and transform them into a way that you can communicate that type of lesson or story that you want to tell. And creativity is a blessing, and it's worth
absolutely.
it. The only way to use it is to share it.
Absolutely. Is there a biopic now that you've done a biopic of Millie? Is there one that is closer to your heart that hasn't been tackled yet that you'd like to see tackled?
My grandmother's story is pretty incredible. And I, I guess I struggle about whether or not she would want it to be told because she was such a private person.
Right.
Um, but such an interesting story. And no, I don't have one off the top of my mind, but I really loved, there's something in my chemistry that really loved pulling from someone who's already walked this earth, pulling from a woman like Mildred who has been alive. And I think any character you meet as an actor becomes alive to you, so it's a little hard to be, you know. But I really, really loved getting to know her.
Mm,
Um, and I would really, really love to do something like that again.
awesome. Well, we'll look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
Are there any other aspects of the industry that you'd like to pursue, or do you feel that you've hit your stride as an actress?
I love acting. I love using my body in the same way Mildred loved using her body in wrestling. But I write as well. I'm an aspiring writer, and I call myself a baby writer because I spent a lot of time writing, but I'm always acting, and so I haven't pushed anything out into the world yet besides to my family. But I do really enjoy learning sort of the inner workings and the process of how characters kind of move through from your own mind. And the thing kind of about acting that writing I think does even more is that you had nothing and you made it into something. And it's just like
Yeah,
it's such a cool piece of I think creativity and I'm really enjoying it.
absolutely. So I watched you like a lot of people did. Watched you for 8 years on Arrow.
Oh yes,
Um,
Felicity.
yeah,
This was
Felicity.
hers.
Yeah.
This sweater.
Yeah, one of my favorite characters on TV. Do you approach characters differently when it's a character on TV as opposed to film?
Uh, I don't know if it's due to the medium per se. There are certain things that the TV medium asks differently of you. You know, things are
Mm,
changing on the day. That happens in indie film. Um, but character something like Felicity, we were shooting 23 episodes 10 months out of the year. Like things were changing more at a rapid pace, and with a film, I had the script 3 months before the whole story before going to set. So there's certain things that they ask you differently, and but I think each character asks something different of you more so than the medium. Mildred needed a lot of physical changes. She also, there was a lot of history to her. There was a book written on her. There's a lot to learn. Felicity, just going directly to Felicity, wasn't much in the ether about her before, so kind of creative freedom, and what was on the page, was minimal. So it was kind of just letting her kind of come through the body and throw spaghetti at a wall and see what was authentic for her. And so definitely I think each character asks something different in the process. One thing that I think stays true is the connection to the self. So the connection, I'm big into this with acting, that I think for me at least, the deeper I know myself, the deeper I am able to know my characters, because there is a separation. And that's something that is a non sequitur, and that's a pillar that keeps going.
yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm right in this. But I think Felicity made it into the comic books after it being
Yes.
introduced on TV, right?
Yes, and she was blonde with a ponytail, so that was definitely from Arrow. That was definitely from our TV show. Because I think
Um,
originally she was Firestorm's mom, and she was sort of like brunette and older. And am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while, guys. Like, don't if the
yeah,
comic book world comes through
I
me.
I
But
don't know.
but that is kind of what I remember from when I first got that first scene audition in like season one, and I was like, oh, there's not much on her, and then I was like, okay, so like freedom, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the popularity of streaming services, what do you feel the future of cinema is?
Well, I think it's a little bit Wild West out there right now at the
Mm,
moment. I think that I think that there's still room for, independent films and stories, perhaps even more so. I think that there's a lot of fear right now. I'm hearing from, people don't really want to give money to things, the writer's strike, there's a little bit of weird 2025, where are we at in our culture, in our world, and what stories are we wanting to tell? Do we want things to be commercial? The answer is yes, you do want, your thing to be commercial, because commercial just means people come to see your movie. That's what it means. Um, and I think that word has gotten a little misdrued in a sense. Or it has a weird connotation to it, because even when I write, I'm like, oh, this isn't commercial. It's like, but you want like to affect people.
mm,
You want your feelings to transpire to the other person's heart, right? Like that I want my story to move your story. I want you to be able to watch. I watched Tadahashi and the play English, right? And it's about um, learning English as a second language, right, from Farsi to English. And I'm watching this. My grandmother's Polish. We're not Farsi. There's no Farsi. Sorry, there's no Farsi in my lineage of speaking or anything like that. And I was thinking about my grandmother up there, and I got to understand my grandmother better from watching this show. And it's a totally different experience, right? But something transpired. I felt something, and got to speak to my grandmother who passed years ago. And I think that that's what you want from your art and your art form. Anyway, I've gone off on a tangent for you.
It's all right. No worries. No, absolutely.
But I do think that the future of cinema will always be a driving force, is going to be the need to affect people and, once again, telling stories.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So what are you working on next that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I'm currently taking some time to do some writing. So I'm focused on that, and Queen of the Ring is doing its thing out there in the world, and I'm hoping it lands somewhere everyone can share her story very soon.
Absolutely. It's a story that needs to be that more people need to know about. Definitely, especially with what she went through in her personal life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So who inspires you in the industry?
You know, I think there's people that I follow, and I listen to the Screenwriting Life podcast a lot. I think Meg LaFauve and Lorraine McKenna, both writers that have great voices and share their process. There's just wonderful artists, I think, no matter where you look, and like even just looking at my immediate friend group, I find very inspiring. And people on stage, oh my gosh, I go to the theater and I'm floored every time I walk out. I call my mom. You know, when I saw English, I called my mom. I was like, I wish you could see the show. It's closing night. She's like, oh, well, I can't see it. Like, you know, but I wanted to talk to her so bad.
Yeah.
I think you can be inspired all the time if you're open to it.
Absolutely. And just finally, before I let you go, where can we find you online to keep up with everything you're doing?
Emily Bett is my Instagram. I know I'm not as active on it, like I should say all year round, but that is me. That is mostly my only social media. So I would stay on there. If there's anything that's going on, I will post about it there.
Awesome. Well, Emily, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. We did speak to you a little while ago for Arrow when the DVD was released in the UK.
Oh, hilarious!
When you were over here, you were over here with Colton.
Oh, in Milan. Oh, and no, we
No,
were
in
the UK
London.
too.
Yeah, in
Oh my
London.
gosh! Well,
yeah, that was a long time
22-year-old
ago.
me thanks you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I always look forward to what you've got on. And you've got a movie on Tubi at the moment, Calamity
Oh, yeah.
Jane. So that's
Yeah.
another great Western. So yeah.
And another great real person too.
Mm.
It's a little bit of liberty in the story because we don't really know what happened to Calamity Jane. But
Yeah.
her legend is what she was proud of. So I think she'd be happy with anything legendary.
Absolutely. Well, you look after yourself, and thank you for taking time today.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Marc.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. Please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram for more content. Bye for now.
Producing the champion of the world,
Sometimes get on board.
You show what you can do. I hear a siren. Maybe you were wrong about me. I'm dangerous and still.
Why don't you give me a sign like the sea? Everybody thinks that I'm okay. Sometimes I think I am too. I'm on the outside. London cafe. So give me one last serenade. Say to me, or swear at me till the night turns into day. And it was a shame when daylight faded, because we didn't notice at all.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.